Dr. Gregorio Sanchanco, one of the movers of the reform movement, wrote a book entitled El Progreso de Filipinas, base sa mga facts and reports na iyang nabasa gikan mismo sa Spanish authorities, nagpamatuod na dili indolent ang mga Pilipino. Ingon ni Rizal, indolent man jud ta, pero naay mga rason nganong indolent ta.
La Indolencia de los Filipinos or The Indolence of the Filipinos is a 5-part essay written by Philippine national hero Dr. Jose Rizal to study of the causes why the people did not work hard during the Spanish period. The article was originally written in Spanish and published in La Solidaridad from July 15 to September 15, 1890. Rizal studied and discussed the Morgas book So Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas to know exactly the condition of the Filipino natives when the Spaniards came to the islands. The Indolence of the Filipinos is a study of the causes why the people did not, as was said, work hard during the Spanish regime. Rizal pointed out that long before the coming of the Spaniards, the Filipinos were brave, industrious, and were hardworking. Then centuries in the reign of the Spaniards, we turned sluggish and lazy and brought about a decline in economic activities because of a series of undesirable events.
First, the establishment of galleon trade cut off all previous association of the Philippines with other countries in Asia and the Middle East. As a result, business was only conducted with Spain through Mexico. Because of this, the small business and handicraft industry that flourished during the pre-Spanish period gradually disappeared. Another thing, Spain also extinguished the natives' love of work because of the implementation of forced labor. Because of the wars between Spain and other countries in Europe as well as the Muslims in Mindanao, the Filipinos were compelled to work in shipyards, roads, and other public works, abandoning agriculture, industry, and commerce. Spain did not protect the people against foreign invaders and pirates. With no arms to defend themselves, the natives were killed, their houses burned, and their lands destroyed. They lost interest in cultivating their lands or in rebuilding the industries that were shut down, and simply became submissive to the mercy of God in any problem they encounter.
Example, a sick animal was left to the mercy of holy water and prayer.
Also, there was a crook system of education, if it was to be considered an education. What was being taught in the schools were repetitive prayers and other things that could not be used by the students to lead the country to progress. There were no courses in agriculture, industry, and etc., which were badly needed by the Philippines during those times. The Spanish rulers were a bad example to despise manual labor. While the natives come early and go home late with all their tasks done, the officials reported to work at noon and left early, all the while doing nothing in line with their duties. The natives are reprimanded when they rest. Everybody needs rest, especially those who do their job well. The women were seen constantly followed by servants who dressed them and fanned them, personal things which they ought to have done for themselves.
Gambling was established and widely propagated during those times. Almost every day there were cockfights, and during feast days, the government officials and friars were the first to engage in all sorts of bets and gambles. There was a crook system of religion. The friars taught the naive Filipinos that it was easier for a poor man to enter heaven, and so they preferred not to work and remain poor so that they could easily enter the kingdom of heaven after they died, believing that no work is equal to no money. No money is a poor man, and a poor man is one-way ticket to heaven.
Because of misgovernment and overtaxation, others left their fields and chose to live in the forest. Rizal's analogy of the physician is that indolence is a continuing illness. The native is the patient and the government is the physician. The disease will worsen if proper treatment is not applied. And still, the Spaniards really wasn't hurting as well. It may be infectious, but it's not hereditary.
Another thing that we might add that had caused this indolence is the lack of unity among the Filipino people. In the absence of unity and oneness, the people did not have the power to fight the hostile attacks of the government and of the other forces of society. There was no voice and no leader to lead them the way to a more productive Philippines for them. In such a condition, the Philippines remained a country that was lifeless, dead, simply existing and not living.
To sum it up, the source of the Filipino indolence are
The Spaniards. It can clearly be deduced from the writing that the cause of the indolence attributed to a race is Spain. When the Filipinos wanted to study and learn, there were no schools, and if there were any, they lacked sufficient resources and did not present more useful knowledge. When the Filipinos wanted to establish their businesses, there wasn't enough capital nor protection from the government. When the Filipinos tried to cultivate their lands and establish various industries, they were made to pay enormous taxes and were exploited by the foreign rulers.
According to Rizal, the cure to this indolence or education to fight ignorance of things or their work and liberty to build their own nation.